Nation's Emily Finn joining us now with some of those details.
Yes, Marnie, we have a little bit of insight into how Americans feel about inflation right now. We know that inflation is a top issue for voters leading into a presidential election year. While the Biden administration has been touting significant improvements to getting Americans back to work since the pandemic, prices are still high, and consumers are feeling the strain on their wallets. In fact, 52% of Americans believe inflation is a bigger problem facing the United States today than unemployment, immigration, and crime. That's according to our latest NewsNation DecisionDeskHQ polling. It's front of mind for a solid majority of the U.S., with 92% of those polled saying they are concerned about inflation. Going into the Christmas season with prices still up about 19% since the pandemic, the National Retail Federation expects holiday spending to increase between 3 and 4%, but that's the smallest year-over-year growth in the past 3 years. A big reason behind the pause on spending, 50% of Americans believe they are worse off financially than they were a year ago. Professor of Finance at University of San Diego, Daniel Ricardo, says consumers can't be fooled when the products they normally purchase are still more expensive than they were just 2 years prior.
There's a gap between reality and perception, and the reality is that American consumers are feeling pinched. We've had over 2.5 years of inflation above where the Fed wants it. And consumers are reminded of that inflation on a daily basis when they fill their grocery carts, when they buy diapers, when they buy a Happy Meal for their kids. So that's the reality. And then no matter how much marketing or spin the political elite want to put on it, the reality is that consumers are pretty smart.
Inflation will likely be a key point of discussion during our NewsNation GOP primary debate that's taking place Wednesday in Alabama. And the remaining Republican candidates that are vying for the nomination will ultimately have to answer to how they plan to address this top concern for voters, Marnie.
Yeah, the economy always at the top of the list. Emily, thank you for that.